All right, everyone. Hope we had a great weekend. Welcome back to the Vince Dao Show. Got a lot to talk about tonight, including I found my leftist doppelganger. Okay, I literally found the Leftwing Vince Dao. We got to talk about that, as well as the Mike Pence presidential announcement. A lot of corporations are sort of scared of conservatives, it seems. Why has Pride Month been so quiet? We will be discussing that, and also climate change activists are now going around slashing people's tires. Okay, this is a real story. It was not talked about a lot. We're going to talk about it tonight. That's all on the Vince Dao Show. Stay tuned, everyone. And we are live tonight from the great state of Florida. Welcome everyone to the Vince Dao Show. I am your host, Vince Dao. And as usual, everyone right now, be sure to leave a like on the stream. Let's get to 50 likes. And as usual, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We do this show normally, because I know we do have some new subscribers. We do this show normally every Monday through Friday here on this channel at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So be sure to join us. And we got a great show. Lots to talk about over the weekend. You know, there's a lot of different stories. It's going to be a pretty jam-packed show tonight. And of course, I know most of you guys just came just for this. Yes, we do have to react to the leftist, my evil leftist clone. Okay, we found Leftwing Vince Dao. But before we do that, if you do want to support the show and you got questions or comments that you want read and answered, feel free to send it in via the super chats, whether on here or on Streamlabs. I will check those periodically throughout the night. And, you know, obviously it's your best way to get your opinion voiced on this show and the best way to support the show. As you know, we are an independent operation here. No network deal, no contract or nothing. It's all your grassroots support that keeps the lights on here in this studio. So it's all appreciated. God bless you guys in advance. All right, with that said, let's actually read the first two we got here. Thank you, guys. Dollar for $5 says, I'm on vacation in LA. Sorry to hear that. I miss Texas. The homeless people in Texas live in houses. Well, then they're not homeless, but yeah, it is true. I can't believe you actually grew up here. Literally a third world place. Yes, I am from LA, for people who don't know. And yeah, that's why do you think I'm such a hardened gangster? You know, why do you think, you know, you look at me, you're like, that guy is clearly from the mean streets. He's tough. He's hard. You know, that's the reason. That's the reason why. But thank you for the $5. Well, you know, I hope you make the best of it. There are nice places of LA, but yeah, you're right. Most of it is overran by homeless people. 100% a failing city, in many ways a failing country. What can we say? Thank you for the $5. And Arnie Hernandez for $2 says, what is your stance on bilingual education? You know, I don't mind like Spanish or whatever being taught in high school. I think learning different languages, especially the languages of global commerce, it is decent. It's okay, but I think that needs to be reserved to elective classes, right? I don't think it should be this thing where America speaks multiple languages. So I don't mind high school, whatever, take a couple years, learn a foreign language. I think that's reasonable, but you know, I don't think we should become a bilingual country. Thank you for the $2. And Kendall for $10 says, give the Sweet Baby Gang a shout out. Okay, there's your shout out. Sweet Baby Gang. Matt Walshheads, thank you for the $10. Kendall Wheeler, I appreciate it. Yeah, as usual, if you guys want to super chat to support the show, it is all greatly appreciated. I will read them in between our segments. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our stories here tonight. Got a lot to talk about, but first, I'm going to take a very dramatic sip of water. That was the longest sip of water you've ever seen. All right, let's get into the news tonight. So we open here with this story. Xbox has dropped their gay pride logo after just a few days into Pride Month. Okay, so they came out, they had their gay pride logo and everyone was making fun of it. I think they kind of noticed to an extent PlayStation did not do a pride logo, and just 3 days into Pride Month, they have now changed their logo to, very ironically, the logo for the Diablo game. So, you know, I'm just gonna point that out. It is kind of ironic how they start off with the gay pride logo and then they transition that into a logo that symbolizes hell. Hey, don't get mad at me. I'm just pointing out that is what Xbox did here, okay? But you have this story here, and they're not the only one. That includes also the U.S. Navy, okay? So first day of Pride Month, they changed their logo, their banner, I should say, their Twitter banner. It used to be Top Gun. June 1st, they changed it to Top Gay. That's what this is, apparently, Top Gay, you know, the gay F-16. And then in the span of a few days after that again, all of a sudden it changed right back. And that's very interesting. I want to point this out, and the reason I want to talk about this is because years ago, even last year, you would have never seen this. All the corporations and the Navy and everything, they used to be gay for the entire month. And I think I'm kind of noticing this year, I think maybe you guys kind of feel the sentiment as well. Do you guys get the feeling that Pride Month is not as bad or as loud this year as it was in years past? I mean, don't get me wrong. That's not to say that it's not around. There is still plenty of stuff. There's still a lot of disgusting things going on. But it just seems to me there's a little bit less of it this year than it used to be, right? You see this, a lot of corporations that used to change their logos, they just didn't even bother. And then what you see now is some of them are like, they change it for a day, they get laughed at on Twitter, but they used to get laughed at on Twitter before, but they didn't care. But I think there's this fear after the Bud Light boycott, after Target lost something of $9 billion in the span of a week, that I think what you're seeing here is that the institutions in our country, very nominally, I wouldn't say they fully respect us yet, but very nominally. By the way, Kendall Wheeler for $20, thank you very much, says it's actually pronounced Weiler. Why? I'm sorry about that, Kendall. I appreciate it. All right, shout out Kendall, big donation, the 20. I usually wouldn't stop and pause, but that's a big donation. I appreciate it very much. Okay, as I was saying, I think what you are seeing here is some of the institutions, to a very small degree, are beginning to fear conservatives, or at least respect us very slightly. And I think what that's a sign of is that we are starting to gain we're starting to gain ground in the culture war. And I think most importantly, it is proving that fighting the culture war actually works. Okay? Because we have been told for so many years by different people, liberals mainly, but especially also a lot of people on the moderate right wing, the sort of moderate conservatives. They've told us, hey, this culture war stuff, you need to stop, right? It's divisive. It's turning people away from your camp. And I think what you're actually seeing, though, it's the opposite of that. On a cultural level, we see Bud Light. We know what happened to that brand. We also see the fact that Target, lost $9 billion. And now you're starting to see all these corporations and institutions, yeah, they're not totally on our side, but for the first time in a few years, you're starting to see there's that slight hint of fear, right? They don't want to go all the way where they used to. And on a political level, to people who say, oh, fighting the culture war doesn't work, on a political level, you are also seeing the same thing, which is that no, actually, it's the battle that we should be fighting, and it's the most effective battle to fight. Think about it's been a rough few years, right? But think about the best Republican electoral victories in the past few years. Glenn Youngkin goes into deep blue Virginia and flips it for the Republicans. Did he win that entirely because of economic issues? Did he go and just say, we're going to cut taxes and that was it? No, he focused heavily on two things. COVID, which used to be a culture war issue of 2021. And then secondly, this LGBT stuff, especially going on in schools and CRT and all of that stuff. Glenn Youngkin was a cultural warrior. That's why he flipped the state of Virginia. And then if you want to talk about like Ron DeSantis winning by 20 in the state of Florida, when you think of DeSantis, do you think of tax cuts as a governor, or do you think of, all this, fighting education, fighting Disney, all of that? I think you have the answer there. So it does go to show that, at least I want to make people slightly optimistic. We are making ground here in this culture war. And, again, it does go to show that fighting the culture war is actually something that works. Okay, we are starting to make ground, and it's a winning issue for us. Trust me on that. Okay, you want to talk about, suburban moderates. It's turning suburban moderates in our favor. This type of stuff is exactly what it is. Now, I know some people will say in reverse, they will say, Vince, what are you talking about? We're not winning at all. Because this is every time I just point out that, hey, I'm starting to notice on this gender issue, on LGBT, conservatives are starting to make a little bit of progress. I will get that crowd, the moderates, who say, no, we shouldn't fight the culture war. But then on the other side, I will hear from some conservatives that just, they never want to take credit for anything. They'll just say, Vince, what are you talking about? They still change their profile pictures, so that means we haven't won. I still see gay marches and pride stuff everywhere. It's like, no, okay, listen. Before I get those comments, because I already know it's going to happen, did I say that we won the culture war? No, I did not say that. Did I say that, we had saved America yet? No, but you understand something, right? It's called progress. Do you understand how that works, right? We are making progress. That is what I'm trying to say. And that's all that I'm trying to say. Let me make it clear before that crowd leaves all these comments, okay? And before you discredit progress, which for some reason, I don't know why, there are just some conservatives in this movement that just refuse to ever accept incremental victories, I would then ask you this question. Yes, I fully understand. We have not won the culture war. You're impatient. I understand that. But we also have to acknowledge where progress is being made. Because did the left take over this country overnight? Did we wake up one day tomorrow? Yesterday it was a Christian theocracy, and then today all of a sudden this stuff happens? No, understand, the way that the left took over this country was gradual cultural shifts over the span of decades. And that's generally how things need to be done, right? You don't win wars overnight. You don't change things entirely overnight. It's basically always, with most things in life, it's a long march. It's a process. It's an ascent to power. Sure, sometimes it happens faster than others, but it's still fundamentally, this is what you have to do, okay? And so we are going to have to do the same. And I would point that out to conservatives who just look at the fact that, hey, Pride Month this year, every year it's gotten worse, and then this year it seems to have taken a step back. To the conservatives who don't want to say that's progress, I would say, number one, hey, what exactly are you doing then? What is your solution to totally fix the country overnight, and why is it not being enacted? Oh, why? That's why, because it's going to take an incremental process, right? We understand that. And then B, I would say, yes, it is, it's very good that you are vigorous. It's very good that you want to keep the pressure up, and I'm 100% agreeing. Keep the pressure up. Do not get complacent. We have not won this battle by any means. Keep pushing up the mountain. But I would also say, listen, some people need to be optimistic. When we have grounds for optimism, I think we ought to acknowledge it. And, patience, it's going to take some degree of patience to take back the country, okay? And so I would say stay vigorous, but stay patient at the same time. We are starting to make grounds. It's a good thing. It's a good sign. I don't think it should entirely be rejected. But anyways, there's Pride Month. I mean, we'll see. We're about, 5 days in the Pride Month. It hasn't been as bad as usual so far. Now, maybe that totally changes and you come back to me saying, see, Vince, I told you. But I have a glaring skepticism, or I should say I have a glaring premonition, whatever the word is. I don't know why I said skepticism. That the Pride Month we see this year is going to be a little bit quieter. And why is that again? That's not because conservatives sat around and did nothing. That's because we made our voices heard. We started to push back. And corporations fear us. A lot of educational institutions fear us because the parents are pulling their kids out of school and all this different stuff, and they're making a loud thing at the school board, and the school board members are scared that they're going to lose their elections, right? We are making progress here. Stay optimistic. Stay patient. Okay, it's going to take time. I'm not by any means trying to encourage complacency. I'm just saying, when you've been getting beaten up and you've made no progress and you've just let the enemy win for some 20 plus years, and 1 year out of those 20 plus, you start to see, oh, wait a minute. At the very least, we stopped the advance, right? If we have not pushed back yet, at least we kind of halted the enemy in their tracks. I think that's a good sign. I wouldn't discredit it. All right, with that said, let's move on here to our next story here. We got to react to my left-wing doppelganger here in a second. But first, let's get caught up here on the Super Chats. Brandon Gross for $10 says, what do you think about BLM going bankrupt? I think it's a victory for the black community, in my opinion. Thank you for the $10, Brandon Gross. I don't know if it's even a victory for the black community or anyone, but it's just, it's a general victory just for the entire country that organization is bankrupt. What I will also say, and I just want to point this out, right? it does kind of go to show you something. Let me see, how would I phrase this without getting in trouble? But I'm going to say something that's true, okay? These activist types so often say reparations, we need reparations. Why do they say they need reparations? Because they say there's this economic gap, and they seem to think that giving, you know, a certain crowd of people a bunch of money is going to cure economic inequality and cure poverty. I would argue that BLM, the corporation themselves, is a shining example of why reparations would never work, right? Because what did the organization immediately the moment they got, what is it, $90 million? What did they do? What did they do? They just blew all the money. That's exactly what they did, right? They blew all of the money. And that's the thing, is that when you look at poverty in general, the main driving cause for long-term poverty in the United States these days is not because our system, I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot wrong with the system, but primarily the reason why people stay in very, very low ends of poverty and on welfare and all that stuff, it's not because the system is rigged against them, it's because financial illiteracy, right? This is why most lottery winners end up blowing their money in the span of a few years, right? Because you can give a person a bunch of money, if you don't teach them how to spend it, how to invest it, how to multiply it, which most rich people, or at least I should say self-made rich people, know how to do, then, you know, all that's going to happen is that you're going to see a lot of purchases on dumb, frivolous things, and we get right back to square one. And so I think that's a shining example. But yeah, it is funny. It is funny to say the least, and I don't think anyone is surprised. But thank you for the $10, Brandon Gross. Kendall Weller joins the Vince Dao Nationalist membership tier. I appreciate it, Kendall Weller. Look at the sweet baby gang, okay? I swear, every time the Matt Walsh fans are in chat, okay, they do a good job with the support. What can we say? What can we say? All right, we appreciate it. Appreciate it, Kendall. I should say, sorry, I said Weller again. What is it? Wheeler, you said? Weiler. Kendall Weiler. Sorry about that. Thank you for the membership. I appreciate that. $1 for $2 says Universal Studios is where I'm at. Well, you know, at the very least, there is some good food at Universal, okay? Try the butterbeer. I've never even had that, but they say the butterbeer is good. And I forgot, they have the giant turkey leg. That is pretty good. Thank you for the $2, $1 for $1. Hope you enjoy it. I don't know why you're watching the stream right now from Universal Studios. That's a little bit antisocial, but regardless, I appreciate it, $1 for $1. Thank you for the 2. Small Graydon Guy became a Vince Dao Patriot membership tier. I appreciate that. Small Graydon Guy, thank you very much. And Kendall Weiler for $10, thank you very much, says, am I sending too many super chats? Kendall, you can never send too many super chats, okay? You can never send too many super chats. We appreciate it. God bless you, Kendall. And let me check Streamlabs really quickly, make sure we did not get anything on there. By the way, guys, if you guys want to donate independent of YouTube, because YouTube does take 30% of whatever you donate, feel free to do it on Streamlabs. Okay, nothing on Streamlabs. All right, we are good to go there. Okay, let's move on here. Thank you guys for the super chats. I appreciate it. And the memberships. Let's move on here to our next story, okay? And this is going to be a fun one. Hold on, let me make sure we're interacting with the browser here. Give me a second there. All right, good to go. Okay, here we go. So in other news, I found my leftist doppelganger. That's right. I literally found the Leftwing Vince Dao. Okay, check it out. So this guy is a guy by the name of Victor Shi. And he's basically, I found this on accident today. He's basically a left-wing version of Vince Dao. And let me just kind of show you the Twitter here. His name is Victor Shi. He is youngest Biden delegate. Oh, Vince, you can't say that. Okay, I'm literally Asian, okay? We're just messing around, okay? I talk like that, too. We all talk like that, as we know. But anyways, Victor Shi is the youngest Biden delegate, host of On the Move, I guess he worked for the Biden White House. And he's basically like the Gen Z conservative Asian activist. And let's take a listen here. So he says, and this, by the way, relates to the last story here. Don't know who needs to hear this, but talking about wokeness and critical race theory just isn't a winning strategy. Gen Z sees right through it, and it won't work. And here's him on MSNBC. So let's take a listen. Critical race. Again, this is the left-wing Vince Dao. Let me crop it so it's correct here. All right. All right, take a listen. I think this guy's actually my cousin, by the way, chat. Okay. I have a long-lost cousin. I've never met him. But here he is on MSNBC. Here we go.
In terms of how it's going to resonate with young voters, I think right now what we're seeing with this Republican field, and even with Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, is that they're focusing on basically all the wrong issues. I'm wondering, who are the people that they're listening to? It's clearly not the people who are actually on the ground and people who actually care about issues, because they're focusing on things like wokeness and DEI and critical race theory when most of the country doesn't even care about these issues. And so I think a lot of what we're seeing right now from this Republican primary field is just a complete kind of lack of connection to what Americans are actually feeling right now. And it seems to be run more on kind of what they're seeing on Twitter or what they're seeing on Fox News, and not what actually young people and voters care about. And I think that's going to be a very, very steep hill to change in terms of their perception among young voters and seeing these Republican candidates who are actually maybe people who are legitimate and who actually care about us. But I think right now, both Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis and the rest of the Republican field doesn't show me, at least, that they actually care about young people and the issues that we are focused on.
Okay, so first of all, Leftwing Vince Dao. I don't know why you green screened yourself onto a bookshelf. I don't. You see, you guys notice this very carefully. Look very carefully. You can tell it's a green screen. Now, I've used a green screen for news hits before. It's perfectly fine. But why'd you green screen yourself behind a bookcase? You couldn't stand behind the real bookcase, or that's the background you chose. I don't know. Very strange. Anyways, besides the point. Here's the thing, Leftwing Vince Dao, is that people actually do care about it en masse, right? He goes out and basically says, no, I mean, American people don't care about wokeness and critical race theory and all this different stuff. But showing what I've been seeing from your party and where Republicans do well and not, actually, a lot of the American people do care about it, and that's precisely why you don't want Republicans to care about it. Do you ever notice this? Do you ever notice that, what did they brand Glenn Youngkin when he won his first election? They said he was a culture warrior. What did they say when Ron DeSantis won his re-election? Culture warrior, culture warrior. And yet what you very often see is what? And we talked about this in the last segment, that being a culture warrior actually works for Republicans. All of the best Republican victories in 2022 and 2021, and the worst Democrat losses are all based on the Republicans who properly capitalized off of the culture war. Whereas you see very often the Republicans who do, I guess, as you're trying to psyop them into doing, because you're a liberal activist, and so I don't know why we should be taking strategy from you, but what you very often see on the flip side is that the Republicans who do not make effective use of the culture war and just talk about the generic stuff of tax cuts and, I don't know, deregulation, whatever it is, not saying those things are not important, but those do not drive people to the polls, nor do they seem to drive people away from the Democratic Party. What very often is driving people currently, and the reason they are talking about these things is because it's working, it's effective with a lot of people. The reason people are waking up is because of a lot of the wokeness, right? DEI, CRT, the LGBT agenda, all this different stuff. And the reason why you as a liberal are pretending like it is not effective is because you are scared of it. You know it is turning people away. And it is turning the very people away, first of all, that are at least historically important to elections, right? Look at Loudoun County, right? With the school board and stuff. A lot of the stuff you are doing in the schools, it's not just a matter of, rural small town America now is more energetic to be Republican. It's turning away a lot of people who voted perhaps for Obama or for Biden into the conservative camp. And I see this in California, and you see this with the way some suburbs have been trending. But even more so, you want to talk about Gen Z. You say Gen Z doesn't care about this stuff. I would argue the exact opposite. This is, if you want to talk about the number one issue to motivate Gen Z to A, become conservative, or B, if they kind of are naturally conservative, go vote Republican, are cultural issues. Because newsflash, Victor Shi, not leftist Vince Dao, your average college kid out there is not, think about what wakes up your average college kid, makes them conservative, red pills them, whatever. It's generally not tax cuts. Okay, the generic liberal to conservative story in college is not, I thought really hard about tax policy and I decided I think we need a flat tax instead of a progressive tax. That's not what is happening. Usually what happens, it's that they get some crazy professor who says a bunch of stupid nonsense. It makes them more involved in politics. They join college Republicans, Turning Point or whatever it is, and that's how a young Gen Z conservative is made. It is precisely off of the cultural issues. And, furthermore, just think about this logically for a second. And considering how many kids do go to college these days, and you know how the lifestyle is in college, not a lot of them are really thinking about economic issues at the moment. But the things they do notice are the cultural stuff, whatnot, and this and that. And it's very strange that you would say the culture war doesn't affect politics, because all I see from your side with Gen Z, you guys, let's think about this. You guys do not mobilize your youth off of economic issues. You don't go around talking about Medicare or inflation. They don't even understand those things. What do you guys say to your youth, to your base of Gen Z? You guys go around and say, abortion, they're taking away trans rights, all of this stuff. Because you guys know that reaches young people, because young people don't care about economic issues. They should, but truth is they don't even know what that is. But the cultural stuff, either their crazy liberal professor if they're a conservative, or their crazy liberal professor motivating them if they're liberal, that is what, gets young people involved in politics. And so I think on that, you're completely wrong. And, we talked about this. This is true in the last story. It's true again now. The reason why they don't want conservatives to talk about the culture war is because it is such a losing issue for them, right? They wouldn't be scared any other way. They wouldn't be, because the thing is, when you do just campaign on economic issues don't drive people to the polls. They don't really get angry. Think about it for a second, right? The number one driving force in our modern politics, and maybe it shouldn't be like this, but the number one driving force is anger. People vote because they are angry about one person or the other. They're angry at Trump. They're angry at Biden, right? People don't get angry or passionate or inspired by economic issues on other side. They are inspired by cultural issues. And, that's especially true of Gen Z, considering Gen Z don't exactly understand economics yet. They're not really of that age. So, you're completely wrong on that. But yeah, this is Leftwing Vince Dao. Should we react to a few more videos? I have not actually looked at his other videos, but let's see. Here he goes again. Mark my words. Gen Z is watching. Gen Z is paying attention. And Gen Z will make Republicans in Tennessee and across the nation pay for messing around with our lives in 2024. Which is very ironic when you consider the identity of the Nashville shooter, but that's that. Let's see what else he's got on his feed here. Victashi. He has a cool name, though. Victashi. People are going to be like, oh, no, Vince, you can't say that. Cancel Vince Dao. He made a self-deprecating joke. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to find his other news hits here. Let's see. Does he have anything else? I want to hear him talk. All right, so apparently he's got a whole show here. I don't know. We might have to check it out sometime. But there is Leftwing Vince Dao. Very funny. Very, very, very cool. All right. We're going to look more into him. He's just like, it's true. Listen, his name starts with a V. My name starts with a V. We both have a 3-letter name after that I believe is Chinese in origin for both of us. I'm telling you, he's literally Vince Dao, Leftwing Vince Dao. So Leftwing Vince Dao, my long-lost cousin. Victashi, you come home, okay? Come home. We're going to reunite. All right. We haven't seen each other. We're twins separated at birth. Okay. He's the evil one. I'm the good one, but we're going to reunite. Okay. We're going to make this happen. All right. Let's get caught up here on Super Chats, and then we'll go on to our next story. We got to talk about Mike Pence's presidential campaign. And again, left-wing climate activists slashing tires. Absolutely ridiculous. But let's get caught up here. Sheeny Beanie for $2 says, do you watch Zeducation? Tyler Zed. I'll be honest, I don't really watch his content in particular. I do know who you're talking about. We are cool with each other. I think we follow each other. I'm not actually sure. But I'm cool with him, but I honestly have not seen a lot of his content. So there's your answer. But we're cool. I would have him on the show. He's welcome on. But I know who it is. Thank you for the $2, Sheeny Beanie. And Supreme Leader Admiral Alexander Kolchak for $2 says, physiognomy has been proven. Vince Moggs on Victor. It is true. It is true. Thank you for the $2. Admiral Kolchak, I appreciate it. Small Graydon guy for $2 says Vince Mao. He is. That's Vince. I'm Vince Dao. He's Vince Mao. This is true. Kendall Weller for $10, thank you very much, says, I'm working 6 days a week to put bread on Vince Dowd's table. Well, we appreciate it, Kendall. I keep saying your name wrong. Kendall Weiler, I'm sorry about that. Well, listen. Kendall Weiler is our super donor, okay? She is the founder of the Vince Dao for YouTube President super PAC. I appreciate it very much. Kendall, big support tonight. God bless you. Seriously, appreciate that. Thank you for the $10. And Joseph Hoffman for $35. Yo, insane. Let's go. Thank you for the 35. I appreciate that. Big support tonight, guys. Appreciate this. Says, Vince, what do you think of the idea that DeSantis, or at least his backers, know that he can't beat Trump in the primary? He's just running for second place and waiting for Trump to be arrested and jailed by the feds. Thank you for the $35, Joseph. I appreciate it very much. Yeah, you know, I don't know, but I definitely see where you're coming from on that front, because what I've seen from the DeSantis campaign is, like, maybe it's just kind of all he's capable of or whatever, but it seems to me he's not really running to win. Do you guys get that vibe too? And maybe it's just very poor consulting or advising on his part, but I feel like if you're going to try to primary Trump from 30 points behind, you need to throw out some type of revolutionary vision, draw this wedge in between Trump, you know, really go out there, really be aggressive. And I don't see a very aggressive campaign strategy from DeSantis right now. All I see him saying is like, well, look, we did good in Florida and all that stuff. And I don't know if that's just bad advising, but that's not going to beat, right, Donald Trump when you're 35 points behind. And so I don't know if it's that he kind of knows he's not going to win, he's not trying to win, or yeah, that is an alternative theory, is the hope is, okay, we'll just run behind Donald Trump, and if he does get indicted, arrested, whatever, he's disqualified from running, then we can just step in and be the nominee. I mean, it's a theory for sure. I don't know what the exact nomination is, that the exact train of thought is there, but I could definitely see the case for that, because I'll be honest, I just have not been particularly all that impressed so far by really anything DeSantis has done, right? Has he really ran a bad campaign per se, messaging wise? No. But when you're trying to overthrow a very established frontrunner, what he's doing right now, and like I said, maybe that's all he's capable of. People forget he kind of came into his own image-wise as governor, but he's never been the most, I guess, charismatic or inspiring guy. But yeah, I don't know, what I've seen from him, it's just, he hasn't really run like the guy who's about to upset Donald Trump when you're that far behind. So I don't know, it is interesting. Homer, for a member chat for 1 month, says, thoughts on gays against groomers. I don't know. I mean, there are people within that group that I am fine with, but I think overall, sort of, I understand what they're trying to do, and I suppose I do appreciate to a degree what they're trying to do, but there is something to be said that, you know, I don't know, it's just kind of this attempt at identity politics that sort of misses an overarching point. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to try, like, I don't want to burn certain people that, you know, have no problems with me. I've never had problems with that group in particular, but I think there's something about the concept of that's a little bit, you know what I mean. But yeah, thank you for the member chat. I appreciate it. Kendall Wheeler, I keep saying your name wrong. Kendall Weiler, every single time. Cause it's, I'm like looking from far away. It looks like Weller. The eye looks like but anyways, Kendall Weiler for $5 says The Rookie is a great cop TV show. Well, I've never seen it, but I have to go and check it out sometime. Thank you for the $5. I appreciate the super chats, guys. Again, we are an independent operation here, so your super chats are the way that this show turns, and I appreciate it very much, and I'll check out more of them here in a second. All right, but on to our other stories here tonight. Slayer Doric says, an attempt to make the slippery slope less slippery. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, I guess I understand to a degree. I mean, here's the way I see it. If they're going to try to fight at the current moment the same fight as us, then it's like, okay. But it's just, you're absolutely right. It is trying to make a slippery slope less slippery, and I don't like the way they try to necessarily turn identity politics like that. But it's just, I have no problems with them in particular. But you asked me my thoughts of the thing there. I kind of, you know what I mean? But all right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on here. So, in other news, Mike Pence has just filed today to run for president in 2024. I don't think it goes without saying that the guy has absolutely no chance in this nomination, but I figure in this segment we might as well talk about it a little bit. I will tell you exactly why I do not think Mike Pence stands a single chance. And just to put it very simply, the guy is liked by very few people in this party, and he's also just totally uninspiring. And beyond that, his messaging and his ideas absolutely suck. And I know what people are going to say. Oh, Vince, no. I always get this from some of the principled conservative crowds in defense of Mike Pence. They say, you are just mad at Mike because of the thing that happened in January 2021. And that's all it is. It has nothing else to do with it. We did a poll today on the channel that was like, would you support Mike Pence? I think it was 97% no, which was hilarious. But I got one single comment from one guy who said, well, Mike Pence is Trumpism without Trump. Why wouldn't you support Mike Pence? He'd basically be like having all of Donald Trump's policies without Donald Trump's personality. And I'm like, do you just totally forget history? Do you just not understand this stuff? I mean, so let's go back and have a little history lesson here and remind ourselves of exactly who Mike Pence is. First and foremost, no, the reason we do not like Mike Pence is not just because of that certain day in January 2021. Let's go back 10 steps further and remember that Mike Pence has never been ideologically in the same ballpark as Donald Trump, nor was he meant to be. Flashback to 2016, Mike Pence was never chosen as Trump's running mate because, you know, he was just Donald Trump 2.0. He was actually particularly chosen to appeal to a different wing of the Republican Party that Donald Trump struggled with, which was your sort of old school, more establishment, legacy Republican sort of evangelical crowd, right? So let's make that clear. Mike Pence has always been a practical pick. He was a practical vice president, a practical running mate. He has never been Trumpian in nature. He was never Trump with the ideas. And if you were skeptical of that, maybe you're like, no, I'm in denial. I'm in denial. Well, have you been paying attention? Listen to the way Mike Pence has spoken about everything the past few years. The guy is a total neocon through and through, okay? First of all, he has no original ideas. All he ever does is go around and talk about Ronald Reagan. Just Ronald Reagan this, Ronald Reagan that. As if, you know, it's not like you want to talk about people who are out of touch or outdated or whatever. Ronald Reagan's been dead for 20 years. He was president 40 years ago. Most of the electorate actually today, at least in terms of age, actually was not alive or old enough yet to really remember his presidency all that well. And yet all the guy wants to go out and talk about is Ronald Reagan, Ronald Reagan. And then, you know, the only policy idea I've actually heard from him besides a blind worship of free trade and free markets, okay, whatever, is regime change in Russia. That's all he's been doing, okay? Free market, regime change in Russia, fund you, give even more money to Ukraine than we currently are, okay? And if you were ever skeptical about that, here is Mike Pence right now basically admitting he was never on Trump's side. So a few days ago, he came out and said, former President Mike Pence calls on Republicans to avoid the siren song of populism in the upcoming 2024 presidential race. If you're kind of confused by what he's trying to say there, he's basically saying, don't support Donald Trump, don't support any sort of anti-establishment Republican who breaks from the old paradigm of George Bush, right? That's essentially what's being said here. To which I look at a quote like that and think to myself, okay, why were you ever Donald Trump's vice president to begin with? That doesn't really make a whole lot of... I'm against populism. I'm a principled conservative. Okay, but you were also Donald Trump's vice president. You signed up to be. Seems to me, actually, you're basically then you're an opportunist. When it was politically opportunable for... That's a made-up word. I just made up a word. Fine. When it's politically opportunable... to be the vice president of a populist guy and that levels up your political career, you're like, oh, let me do it. But then when you fall out of favor with him, all of a sudden, oh, populism is such a bad thing. But yeah, I mean, just long story short, I don't understand why anyone who is not a hardcore like GOP establishment donor would ever consider supporting Mike Pence. And I would further say, like I said in the beginning, nothing that Mike Pence ever has said is particularly all that inspiring or revolutionary or any of it. And I would say that about the entire clown car behind Trump and DeSantis, right? Besides Vivek, I'll say Vivek of like the clown car candidates, he's cool. But, besides that, all I hear from all these people, Mike Pence, is Ronald Reagan. Okay, what does that mean? How does that apply to the modern day? Well, don't you know it's the Reagan doctrine? We need to reinstitute the Reagan doctrine. How? The Soviet Union doesn't exist anymore. The country's changed a lot. Well, free markets. Don't you know Ronald Reagan? My friend Ronald Reagan. That's all that Mike Pence says. Ronald Reagan, this, arm Ukraine more, this and that, total neocon. Tim Scott, all the guy goes out there and says is, nobody is oppressed in America because we're the land of opportunity. See, I'm black and I made it in America. And that's out of touch because it totally ignores the fact that America, in many ways these days, is no longer the land of opportunity, right? And I can't stand that either in general. I just can't stand when Republican candidates, and especially all the establishment clown car, all they do is appeal to old 1980s cliches in some way or another. So with Mike Pence, it's a big foreign policy thing. He's all about, we need to stand up. It's like actually Ronald Reagan with the Alzheimer's, because you know what I mean? He's like, Reagan smash, Reagan. That's actually what's happening, because Mike Pence is like, well, those Soviets are invading Eastern Europe. Hey, Mike, it's a different world. It's actually, Ronald Reagan's not president anymore. And then, in regard to Tim Scott constantly talking about opportunity, I think that's wildly out of touch because it denies the fact that America is a country in decline, and actually we are in massive trouble, right? And that's why I like actually when Donald Trump goes out there and acknowledges that America's becoming a third world country, because it is. And everyone who goes out there and says, in the 1990s, I was a self-made entrepreneur. I'm not saying that's impossible in America these days, but understand, you politically campaigning on basically the country currently being in a good state and saying, we're going to defend the regime, we're going to defend the system that most people, young and old, feel like is broken, that is not going to work. And Nikki Haley does the exact same thing. And, just long story short, let me just say, for the record, any Republican candidate who tries to run like it's the 1980s in any way, whether that's foreign policy or in this whole talking point of like free markets and how America's the land of opportunity, you are brutally out of touch. You will never receive my support. You're never going to win, right? You're never going to win. And I guess I can only speak as a young person here, but I think, you want to talk about long-term, how can we make strides with younger voters and Gen Z and all that stuff? These talking points are not going to work, right? It's not going to work to go out there and say, America's the land of opportunity. And, I am self-made and this country's so wonderful because we have opportunity. And the younger generations are looking at the current state of the country and saying, we literally are never going to be able to afford a house. They're destroying everything. The quality of life is dipping. I will never have the opportunities that my parents or grandparents had. And then for these, you understand how that's out of touch? And I'm not saying young people are the only people who think that's out of touch, because I think a lot of middle-aged people say, well, this isn't the country I grew up in either, right? But for a Republican to go out there and say stuff like that and campaign on this just appeal to all the cliches of the 1980s, especially for young people, they hear that, and then you wonder why socialism is so popular among kids. I'm not saying socialism is correct. Socialism obviously is stupid. But when the conservatives, when the Republicans go out there and tell young people, well, suck it up, buttercup, don't you know? I mean, this is the American dream where you can buy a house and get a family and all that stuff, and I don't know why you young people are so lazy and stupid. And it's like, not to do this, but it's like, okay, boomer, listen, right? You bought a house in, 1970 for like $40,000. That same house is now priced at $1.5 million. And instead of going and acknowledging, hey, we need to fix this system, let's do something about it because America is rapidly in decline, all these clown car candidates, all they go out there and do is say, well, listen, 1980s, we love this land of opportunity. And so let me just say that, right? There's a reason. That's the reason why Donald Trump's original slogan is so powerful with so many people. Make America great again. What does that acknowledge? It acknowledges in some way America is no longer great, which, yes, there are still many great aspects of this country, but we ought to acknowledge that. We are falling way behind the world in so many ways. The standard of living in this country, rapidly falling behind a lot of the rest of the first world, right? It's freaking violent. Our cities are a disaster. And yes, I would still say, in terms of things like certain social freedoms. You know, there's no country in the world I'd rather stand trial in than the United States. But still, even like the good things about the US that I would still say we outpace the rest of the world, I see those declining too, right? And that's not to say I hate the country or I'm not patriotic, which is what the, you know, neocons will say it is. But what it is to say is I think any Republican candidate who in some way will not say something like "Make America Great Again," implying that the country is not what it used to be, will not appeal to that sort of reactionary instinct we all have as Americans, which is this country's kind of screwed right now. You're not going to win. You're not going to appeal to anyone. And that's Mike Pence's problem, Nikki Haley's problem, Tim Scott's problem, all of it. So there's the Mike Pence initial thoughts on the announcement there. I think he's supposed to make his first speech tomorrow or something like that. We're going to react whenever it is. We are going to react to Mike Pence's presidential announcement live on this channel because I feel like that will be fun and quite entertaining. So why not? So just FYI, I think it's tomorrow, but I got to check on that. So be sure to join us because that'll be fun. That'll be so fun. But anyways, let's get caught up here. Brandon Gross for $6. Thank you very much. Brandon says, one of my favorite commentary YouTubers kind of disappointed me when he called Jordan Neely a hero. His name is Tipster. It's sad who the media brainwashes. Okay, it's one thing. Listen, by the way, it's not like Jordan Neely was innocent by any means. But it's one thing to say, oh, Jordan Neely was innocent. He didn't do anything wrong. You're going to call him a hero? Hero how? Because he danced like Michael Jackson on the subway, which is really funny that they bring that up because, you know, I've been in New York City. I've ridden on a subway before, okay? And I know the general sentiment there. It's so funny how they say, well, he used to dance like Michael Jackson on the subway. That meant he was a good kid. Totally denying the 41 arrest, right? But to that, I would even say, you know, I don't think New Yorkers actually exactly have the most positive opinion of the subway performers. Just pointing that out. I think a lot of them, what do you do? Hey, New Yorkers, anyone in chat, what do you do when you see them? Are you like, yeah, let's go? Are you like, okay, this freak is doing something weird. Let me go on my phone. Don't look at him. Don't look at him. He's going to ask you for money. So, yeah, it is true. But Jordan Neely is a hero. What did he do that was heroic? But actually, you think about it, right? That's the standard for society these days. If you simply are to be totally honest, George Floyd, everything we've seen, if you simply are a black guy who dies in some ways at the hands of a white person, whether directly or indirectly, you know, that I guess makes you a hero. It doesn't matter if you yourself are a criminal and all that stuff. So I don't know. Dollar for $2 says Reagan smash. Reagan smash. So true. If you guys have never seen that Family Guy sketch, you need to see it. Reagan smash. Family Guy was goated. So true. Thank you for the $2. Kendall Wilder for $5 says, don't be like Andrew Tate. Get married to one girl and be loyal. Thank you for the $5, Kendall. I mean, yeah, that is my personal plan. I do plan to obviously do that and raise many children and stuff like that. Thank you for the $5, Kendall. I appreciate it. And Kendall for $50. Yo, she's going crazy. Super Donor Kendall. That's your new name, okay? You're no longer Kendall Wilder. You are Super Donor Kendall. $50. Let's go. God bless you. Kendall says, I'm 2 weeks from turning 18 and I own a small real estate business. My brother also owns a real estate business called Empire Homes, making the American dream come true, one house at a time. Well, we love to hear it. We love to hear it, Kendall. I mean, that's what you ultimately need to do because that's the big war in this country that's going to really screw over economic freedom is the future of real estate. BlackRock is buying up everything. You know, the renters economy, we know that whole story. Bill Gates, a lot of Chinese investors, Middle Eastern investors. We talk about this on this channel all that time. But on the flip side, I would say a big way to fight back is doing exactly what you are doing, right? Get involved in the real estate market. You know, be a realtor, buy property for yourself, which if you're a realtor, most of them end up doing investing themselves, whether it's big or small. If you can buy land, if you can buy a vacation home, rental property, whatever it is, we need to break up the trust that is all these big globalist entities messing with the real estate. And yes, we need certain political reforms, in my opinion, but really we're going to trust DC to do that. Yeah. the way we can fight back ordinarily is own land. If you have property, do not sell it. That's the other thing. Do not sell it. Even if you're the one forcing others into the renter economy, hey, it's much better at least that we are the ones with the economic power. So don't even sell it, right? Try to just, you're going to sell a house. If you can, just make it a rental house, rent it out to someone, move into the new one, right? Literally, like, if you can hoard property, if you can hoard assets any way you can, it's absolutely necessary. And yeah, we definitely do need, I mean, a lot of ordinary real estate agents are actually conservatives, but we definitely do need more influence in that field. So that's great to hear. Super donor Kendall, I appreciate it. And Kendall, for another $10, she's going crazy, chat. She's nuts. You're absolutely nuts. But we appreciate it. God bless you so much. Says, forgot to mention, I'm from New York, not the city. That place is crazy. Finger Lakes area is awesome, though. Yeah, a lot of New York outside of New York City actually looks nice. It's beautiful, you know, all that stuff. But, you know, you're stuck with the laws of Albany and New York. So it is very unfortunate. But yeah, I'm glad you're from at least the rural area. I mean, I'm sure it's a lot safer there. Thank you for the $10. And Kendall for $10 again says, I'm a guy. Parents named me. Oh, so you're a boy named Sue. Okay, I assumed. All right. Sorry for assuming your gender, Kendall. All right, you're a guy. Got you. I appreciate it. Okay. Deepest apologies. You are. You're actually the boy named Sue. You really are. But thank you for the $10. I appreciate it. Super donor Kendall. And I got to remember that. He's a guy. All right. Got it. All right. Let's move on here to our last story of the night. And if any of you other guys want to super chat the show, it's greatly appreciated. It obviously keeps the wheels turning, the lights on here. You know what would happen? I forgot to show this, by the way. There's Mike Pence running. Look at this. Look at this, chat. What the heck is that? Who told him to do this? I don't know if this was when he was vice president or it was more recent, but what is this? Look at it. Watch that again. I was going to show it as B-roll, but I forgot. Look at that. What is he doing? I guess that was when he was vice president. I can't believe Donald Trump allowed that. That's not how you come out. What is that? Mike Pence is celebrating Pride Month, like unironically. Okay, well, into our last story here. So apparently climate change activists are now protesting climate change by slashing people's tires. I kid you not. They're going around, this is in the East Coast and a lot of places in Europe. They're literally going around slashing the tires of people's SUVs and stuff and saying, how dare you drive that car? How dare you drive a car that you need to commute? You're contributing to climate change. And this story is actually like 2 months old, but no one even talked about it. So I'm going to talk about it here. Here we go. This is from the New York Post. Climate goons have deflated tires on 43 gas guzzler SUVs in Boston and leave snarky notes. And this is apparently an international movement. So, an international climate activist group has claimed responsibility for deflating 43 tires in SUVs on Boston's Tony Beacon Hill neighborhood and leaving behind preachy notes warning vehicle owners, your gas guzzler kills. Do you know what actually is killing is the lie here being propagated that like climate change is about to end the world in 10 years because like it's actually the case. You always talk about harmful rhetoric. How can harmful rhetoric undermine democracy? Literally, you want to talk about why there's so much climate terrorism, why people are like dumping black dye into Rome's historic fountains and destroying paintings and doing this stuff. It is because they have been so fear-mongered to, right, by the powers that be, dangerous lies, and they are lies, oh, the world's going to end in 10 years, that they're out here doing terrorist attacks because they think the situation is that dire, besides a case of mental illness, and that's what you're seeing here. But here we go. Your gas guzzler kills. In a blog post, the group, which calls themselves the Tire Extinguishers, claims to have 15,000 members worldwide, and they explain that Wednesday's stunt was their first foray into Boston, and that activists only targeted large luxury gas-powered SUVs because that makes it okay, right? That makes it okay. The Eco Warriors noted that they spared hybrid, electric, and handicapped marked vehicles. SUVs and 4x4s are a disaster for our health, our public safety, and our climate. Bigger and bigger cars are dominating our towns and cities, and also a privileged few can flaunt their wealth, Tire Extinguishers wrote on their website. Because governments and politicians have failed to protect us from this danger, we must protect ourselves. Because that's what you're... By the way, it's not like they're just going to go and, buy new tires and just think, wow, this scumbag, what a piece of crap. No, you're actually going to stop them. Okay, absolutely ridiculous. But they said they chose to target SUV owners living in Beacon Hill because of the area's high concentration of wealth. Yeah, apparently that makes it okay. Patronizing letters tucked beneath the windshield wipers on the vandalized vehicles read in part, "We have deflated one or more of your tires. You'll be angry, but don't take it personally. It's not you, it's your car." What a bunch of absolute scumbags. Absolute pieces of blank. We did this because driving around urban areas in your massive vehicle has huge consequences for others. You know what else has huge consequences of others? You freaking destroying people's cars. Okay? And by the way, how do you know they don't need those SUVs for work? Maybe they work in some type of manual job, or maybe they have to carry equipment, or maybe they have lots of kids. Have you ever considered that, you scumbag? Have you ever considered maybe there's a reason they have an SUV? It's not just because it's a car they want to buy. Oh, no, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. Because you're narcissistic pieces of crap that, should be in jail and should be institutionalized and should not even deserve the rights of living in society. But here you are because we're not a serious country. SUV owners woke up to find, and they said, read this. "You will have no difficulty getting around without your gas guzzler with walking, cycling, or public transit." Yeah, bro. What do you mean? Hey, we deflated your tire. Don't worry. Just walk like 20 miles. I don't know where you need to go. Oh, just take a bicycle. Oh, just take a public transit where a bunch of Jordan Neelys are trying to kill you. Bro, you have a car? How dare you? The Boston Police Department confirmed that they're looking into the reports. No arrests have been made. This is as of the time the article is written. I guarantee you no arrests in the end were made. But yeah, there you have it. There you have it. Okay. Climate. And this is apparently an international movement. Apparently they've been doing this a lot in Europe. They're literally just going around slashing people's tires. Absolute scumbags. And you know what else I will say? This is the case with this, Mizzy, even to a degree, I would argue Jordan Neely. There is something about the lack of respect for others that enables the freak show in our society to do stuff like this, right? Because I will say, but then again, YouTube guidelines. It makes me so mad. But let me say it like this, okay? I think if you go around slashing people's tires to protest climate, for any reason, you shouldn't do it regardless. You, in a very peaceful and patriotic sense, peacefully and patriotically, should be told to stop doing that. Okay? That's what I'll say about it. All right? But there's something about the fact that certain laws or rules in society are not enforced, that people like this think it's okay to go slash tires. Jordan Neely thinks it's okay to go around on a subway telling people he's going to kill them. Mizzy thinks it's okay to go and just walk into people's houses. There's no degree of respect for anything, okay? And in some way or another, that's something we need to, I suppose, reinstate in societies, a degree of effing respect for other people's things, okay? Because you know what? You want to be violent? No. I think the law should just reflect this, is all I'm saying. I think we should live in the type of society where you don't go and slash people's tires because you have enough respect, not just for basic human decency, but also potentially the power of force to say, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go and slash someone's tires. I'm kind of afraid of what would happen to me. That's the way things actually should be, right? I'm not going to go protest about climate change in the streets because I would be blocking cars and that would put my danger in safety. That would put my safety in danger because, in a normal country, I'm blocking the road. Well, but the laws don't reflect normal people, right? They enable the mob, and this is why they're able to do this stuff. Freaks on New York City subways would not go around violently threatening people because in a normal society, you would be scared that something may happen to you, I don't know, if you go around violently threatening people. Mizzy would not walk into people's houses in the UK because he would have enough respect for force that he's a little bit afraid of what would happen to him. But it's not. And now we have here stuck in our society where freaking climate change activists are deflating people's tires. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what else to say. It makes me so insanely mad. These people are just leeches. They're just the scum of society, okay? Let me just say that. Climate change activists actually are, whether or not they realize it, they actually are scumbags, and what they advocate for is highly unethical, right? Because first of all, will you ever see a climate change activist besides maybe buying a Prius? Partially because they are metrosexuals, but whatever. Besides buying a Prius, will you ever actually see them change their way of life, right? Are they going to accept a lower standard of life? No. But they demand it on everyone else, first of all. They go around telling everyone else, because I am in a cult and I believe this nonsense, you have to lower your quality of life. You have to freeze to death during the winter and have a heat stroke in the summer and not drive in a gas-efficient car and whatever it is, and not eat a normal, healthy human diet because I'm scared about this cult. I'm in this cult, and I'm going to demand the rest of you lower your quality of life for this. I'm going to demand that the middle class pay exorbitantly more in taxes just because it appeases my feelings, right? And then they're going to do stuff like this. I'm going to disrupt society because I'm an entitled, annoying scumbag who doesn't know when to shut his mouth. So I'm going to go block the road. I'm going to go and destroy historic paintings because I'm in this stupid, idiotic, unscientific cult. I'm going to destroy I'm going to pour black dye into a fountain. I'm going to go and slash other people's tires because I'm a lowlife. I'm a scumbag. They really are some of the worst people. They just are. Climate change activists, okay? Absolutely not a fan. All right, but anyways, that wraps up our stories tonight. It is 9:02. We will do Super Chats and Q&A until about 9:30. So they're now open. If you got questions or comments that you want read and answered live on the show, the Super Chats are open. It is all greatly appreciated. And if you do want to donate, again, independent of YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, Streamlabs, the link is there. It does not take 30% of the money. I think it takes like 2 or 3%, which is fine. But YouTube, as you know, takes 30% of the dono, so it is appreciated if you do it on there. But they're all greatly appreciated, so God bless you guys in advance. With that said, let's get into our Super Chats for tonight. All right, first of all, Supreme Leader Admiral Alexander Kolchak says, Pence looking like he needs some shock therapy. Joking, of course, joking. In Minecraft, figuratively. Okay, but thank you for the $2. And I know what you mean by that. I know what you mean by that. Of course, he is joking, YouTube. He's joking in video games. But yeah, it is true. That the way he was running, very, very, very curious there. Dollar for $5 says, have you heard of the band The Cars? They're tied for my favorite with Dire Straits. They were the biggest American new wave band. They're very unique. I think, don't the Cars have that song from Drive? Who's gonna drive you home tonight? That song, right? Yeah, in that case, I do know of them. And I think I've heard some of their other music. Thank you for the $5. Yeah, I am familiar. I don't know that many of their songs, but I do know that one song from Drive, right? Who's gonna drive you home tonight? Kendall for $2. Super donor Kendall says, I ran out of money. Be back tomorrow. Well, thank you for the $2, Kendall. Hey, listen, we appreciate it. God bless you. Understandable with the carrying you have done tonight. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for the $2. See you tomorrow. Sheeny Beanie for $5. Thank you very much. Says, the left has managed to mobilize these who idolize sexual immorality and those who idolize creation instead of the creator. Paganism is not dead. Thank you for the $5, Sheeny Beanie. And it is true, right? It is true. The environmentalists unironically worship the earth, and they believe in this idea of Mother Nature. Let me just say that there's no such thing as Mother Nature, right? There is God. But that's the thing, is that their belief is not that human beings are subservient or answer to God. They think they answer to Mother Nature, literally like they answer to the earth, when that's absolutely not the case. And I think if you're a Christian, that's actually a satanic idea, because God tells us we have dominion over the earth, right? So what does Satan do? He tries to invert and flip everything. So they say actually the earth has dominion over us. And, we need to treat Mother Nature like some type of pagan god and sacrifice to it. Literally, sacrifice to it. Give up money and food and all that stuff to Mother Earth in order to sacrifice to Mother Earth. And then, try not to piss it off or else it's going to give us a bad harvest or raise the sea levels. Literally the exact same thing. So thank you for the $5, and I think that's very well put. It's very true. It's very true. But yeah, we're reading the super chats right now, guys. Appreciate it. Mr. EZ says, thanks, climate activists. Super chat boy Sue can't drive to an ATM machine because you slashed his tires. This is unironically the case. Brian E says, Mother God, Martin Luther Queen. By the way, for those who are new on the channel, Martin Luther Queen is the nickname we gave to Justin Pearson, that guy in Tennessee who was like, it's been a long Sunday in Tennessee, but I got expelled and then I came back. So appropriately, I named him Martin Luther Queen because he's, clearly, right? He's obviously MLK. He's always spoken like that, by the way. Literal theater kid. He thinks he's in some 1960s play or whatever's going on there. It was a long Saturday in the state of Tennessee. But we came back and they said... True. Don't forget abortion. Yeah, that's another... Yeah, absolutely. That's Moloch. Moloch? How do you even pronounce it? I say Moloch. Is it Moloch? I think it's Moloch. But yeah, literally. They still sacrifice babies to this day. It's true. But let's see what else we got going on here. Yeah, questions or comments, guys. We are open. I always say it's Q&A and no one actually asks questions. Then I just react to the chats for like 30 minutes. But we are actually open to your questions. So, but let's see. Nothing on Streamlabs, I don't think. Okay, let's see. Speed Stacking Maniac says, Vince, you go to a church. Which denomination? So, I go to a Baptist church. I actually lean more Reformed theologically these days. But I stick to the Baptist church because, I don't know, it's just what I know, what I've been going to. I did try a Presbyterian church once, but it wasn't like it wasn't really a conservative Presbyterian church, and I don't know, I was just kind of like, well, yeah, this is traditional and stuff, and I guess it's better. Not better in that regard, like I like, oh, this is a way more beautiful church and all that, but I don't know, I didn't have a good experience with that service. I just felt very... They do the processes, you know what I mean? Sing this hymn, stand up, sit down. But, like I said, like theologically, it was actually, I think, a more liberal leading church. At least it seemed to be. And I was like, So I go to a Baptist church, but... I guess theologically, I'm probably more like Reformed Baptist. And I know some people say that's not even a thing, but you know what I mean? I think most people who call themselves Reformed Baptists, we're more Reformed theologically, but we go to Baptist church because, I don't know, it's easier to find good Baptist churches, I suppose, especially in the South, right? So, that's kind of the state currently. Are you familiar with Redeemed Zoomer? I am familiar. I follow him on Instagram. Lionos Romans 5:8 says, thoughts on Dark Pence. Is that what they're doing now? Are they starting a Dark Pence movement? Dark Pence. When did we ever have Light Pence? He's running. He's going to get revenge on Blumph. It's more like Sleepy Pence. You want to talk about sleepy politicians, okay? I think that arguably Mike Pence is on the same level of sleepy as Joe Biden. I think that's what you should call him. Sleepy Michael Pence. Sleepy Michael Pence. But let's see. Gray the Gamer says, are you going to do call-ins tonight? I mean, we could. Probably not, though. I don't know. We got 20 minutes. I'll probably just read the chat for 20 minutes. Unless you guys really want to do call-ins. I don't know. Has Gray the Gamer ever called into the show? I mean, we could. I don't know. Should we do call-ins? What does the chat think? I kind of want to just read chat for the next 20 minutes, but I suppose it would be easier. I don't know. Let's see here. Pence gonna create the Handmaid's Tale against women. Is that the idea of Dark Pence? See, that's the thing, is like people have this image of Mike Pence. He's this hardcore social conservative, and he's gonna go freaking blitz mode. And in reality, it's not. He's actually, yeah, I guess he did some cool things as governor. I need to freaking move this chair. This chair keeps freaking rubbing up against the table, and then someone's gonna say, you know, I heard that. No, it's not what you think. It's literally the chair. It's a chair freaking bruising up against the wood the entire time. But yeah, no, Mike Pence is a joke. Speed Stacking Maniac says, Vince, where in Florida are you based? I live in Tarpon Springs, 30 to 45 minutes west of Tampa. I am in that vicinity. I'm about like an hour from there, Speed Stacking Maniac. Maybe like hour and a half. So, let's see. I bet chat wants a call-in. I won't insist, though. I trust the plan. Vince decides. I'm just sleepy. I'm not really in the mood to talk to people right now. But yeah, I mean, we could. If you guys, I have had like these bags under my eyes. I've not been getting good sleep the past few days. It's been quite rough. And it's not even because I have a ton to do. It's just, I don't know why I haven't been sleeping. Like, it's been terrible. I don't know what it is. Maybe I have too much caffeine. I don't know what it is. Because, I think it's also, I've been trying to do intermittent fasting, you know, eat like 1 to 2 meals a day, try to eat them in the afternoon. But last night, dude, I was up till like 4 in the morning because I was so hungry. I was starving. And I couldn't fall asleep because of it. I don't know how you guys do it. I'm trying to get used to it, but I could not fall asleep because I was so hungry. And eventually I just gave in, like 3 in the morning. I just went and ate some food and then eventually fell asleep. But it's hard. It is very hard. I've been trying to do it. I don't know how people do it. I can't sleep hungry. Do you guys have tips? Intermittent fasters? Do I need to just start smoking? Is that what it is? Smoke nicotine, help the appetite? Literally, it's hard. It is very difficult. Sleepy Vince. No, I am Sleepy Vince Dao. I have been the past few days. That's why I've been having this freaking bags, dude. But I don't know. I'll try to sleep better tonight, I guess. But low energy Vince. I mean, I don't feel like I come off as that. I think it's just when I'm sleepy, my thoughts are more scattered. You know, I don't have as like straight line monologues. Because I can fake being awake. It's just I don't think, my brain moves slower. I have like a Joe Biden dementia brain. I'll be talking and I'm like, what was I saying? Sheeny Beanie for $2 says coffee, proteins, and fat. Low carbs. Well, that's what I've been doing, but it's, like I said, I get hungry at night because I'm so used to eating at night. And I know you're supposed to stop eating after like 6 or 7. And it's really hard because usually all my life I've eaten dinner at like 9, 10 o'clock. And I'm trying to stop doing that, but it's very difficult because it's my natural instinct to get hungry at night. And then I outsleep well when I'm hungry. I'm so used to going to bed with a full stomach. You know? I guess that's like a privilege thing. I was not the kid in Africa who goes to bed hungry and ended up on the UNICEF commercial. It was never me. And I'm trying to get used to being the UNICEF kid. You know? John A says sleep more. I don't think you understand. I can't fall asleep. That's what it is. And then I have to wake up in the morning because I have a class this summer. So it's like I have to wake up. And then that's what we're stuck with. It's very difficult. I'm trying to get better with it, but it's very difficult. Sheeny Beanie for $2 says, how's your water intake? I mean, I get plenty of that too, but then that's the thing. When I try to substitute food for water at night, what also happens? I can't fall asleep because I have to keep getting up to go pee. So, like, you know what I mean? It's hard. It's actually very difficult. I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out. I guess you just got to get used to it. But if you notice bags under my eyes, the last like 4 shows, I have not been able to sleep. It's very difficult. Dr. Smegma Jones says, Vince, I love you, buddy. I love you too. Dr. Smegma Jones, are you high again? Last time this guy super chatted the show, he was like, yo, what did you say? Oh, he said, I just took an edible and your show is hitting so hard right now. And now he's talking like it. It's Dr. Smegma Jones. Are you high again? I think he is. But I love you. I love you too, Smegma Jones. Appreciate it. The water uppage is a cope. Well, I don't think it's a cope. It does help when you're hungry. I'll admit that. Like sometimes I'll just drink water. It'll help your appetite. But my thing is that doesn't help me sleep well either, because then it's just like I gotta pee all night, and then I wake up. I don't sleep that well. So I don't know what to do. It's very difficult. I gotta figure it out. You can't sleep on water. Well, you can't sleep on food either. I don't know. Maybe I should just start smoking. It'll help with my appetite. I'll just smoke a cigar every night, like a dignified gentleman. And that'll be my dinner. Literally the case. Kidding. We're obviously joking. Let's see here. Small Graydon guy for $2. Thank you very much. Says, listen to a Mike Pence speech to help sleep. I have not tried that yet. That is true. Mike Pence speaking is literally white noise. So we should investigate that. Thank you for the $2. Small Graydon guy. And Sheeny Beanie for $5 says, you should be getting most of your water before your first meal. Studies show that people who eat their thirst and drink nowhere near enough water. No, that is true. I understand that. My problem is, like I said, I get hungry at night. During the day, it's not that hard. Yeah, that's been the easier part of intermittent fasting, is you just kind of go hungry during the day, just drink a lot of water, eat like one meal at 4 p.m. That's not the hard part. I'm getting used to that. The problem with me is falling asleep. I can't fall asleep when I'm hungry. I can go through the whole day hungry and I'm fine. But falling asleep, it sucks. So, I don't know. I guess I just got to work on it. It's very difficult. Lionel says melatonin gummies. I would never. Sleeping pills are terrible for you. Do you know they cause dementia? That's the thing. I'm not trying to be like Joe Biden when I'm older. That is a scientific fact, which also makes sense, right? Sleeping pills cause dementia because they screw with your brain and they make you all sleepy and groggy. So I'm really against that. I don't believe in that, because my mom told me growing up they cause dementia, and I researched it and it's true. So I'm not touching that stuff, not even once. Anything I ingest in my body, I'm trying to go up, not down. Don't care what the context. Melatonin isn't a sleeping pill. It's the same thing. Yes, it is. What do you mean it's not a sleeping pill? That's what's in sleeping pills. I don't know what you're talking about. Main character in this edgy light novel I read smokes cigs to prevent his brain from exploding. See? It's literally scientific. This is what they've been trying to hide from you for so many years. Did you know? Joking, of course. Did you know smoking cigarettes cures cancer? The libtards world menace has been trying to stop you from knowing this. Find out the truth here on this pop-up clickable ad. Real and true. Melatonin is natural, though, lol. Well, I know it's a natural hormone, but I'm still not going to take it. It seems like the chat is an expert on melatonin. Yeah, I didn't know this. I didn't know. All of a sudden, everyone is. Melatonin. I know it's a hormone. I thought, isn't that what sleeping pills are made of? What's in sleeping pills? I thought it literally is melatonin. I don't know. I'm fine. We're just going to figure it out, okay? By the way, get the stream to 100 likes. We're at 92 likes, 8 likes away. Get the stream to 100 likes. If we get to 100 likes, I will literally acknowledge that we got to 100 likes. So be sure to do it. Melatonin is literally a hormone, and there are no long-term negative effects of it. I don't care. Fake. That does not align with my preconceived dispositions, and therefore I will not believe it. Okay? Therefore I will not believe it. So, I don't know, maybe. I don't know if it'll even help me fall asleep, though. Because the thing is, like, I am tired. It's just that I'm hungry. And I don't know how to sleep hungry. I have to figure out a way to manipulate my appetite. I don't know what it is. Very difficult. Northern Kyle says, I'm going to stick to meth. Okay, well, there you go. Okay, Andrew M says, where's the Mr. Miyagi voice? Mr. Miyagi's retired. We now have, what's his name? Victor Shi. Oh, Victor Shi. Oh, yeah. No, they're going to be very bad for Republican. Oh. Okay. Mr. Miyagi, we're going to move continents. Not continents, countries. Mr. Miyagi is retired. We're now doing the, Victor Shi. Victor Shi. Very true. Very true. John Calvin says, I love making my room as cold as possible before going to bed. It's the perfect way to fall asleep. Yeah, I know. I've always done that. It's just, I don't know what it is. I can't fall asleep hungry. I don't know. I don't know what to do. It's hard. I'm trying to get used to it because it's very bad to eat at like 10, 11 o'clock. But that's always what I've done. That's like a streamer lifestyle too. So I don't know. Make it a Sensei Wu voice. What does Sensei Wu sound like? Is that a Kung Fu movie thing? Let's see. Sensei Wu. Sensei Wu. You mean Master Wu? Why did they stop calling him Sensei Wu? I guess political correctness. Okay, Sensei Wu voice. Sensei Wu voice. All right. What is this voice we're doing?
No pizza for you.
That's not even Asian. That's like...
We're sorry, Sensei. If we dealt with Lloyd before he became a problem, none of this would have been necessary.
Even lessons learned the hard way are lessons learned.
That's not even Asian. What do you mean make it a Sensei Wu voice? Hi, I'm Sensei Wu. Hi, I'm Sensei Wu. Yeah. I'm in Japan, but I have a totally American accent for some reason. That's not even a funny accent. I feel like what's way funnier is me saying, oh, hello! Welcome to Shiwa! Oh. Oh. Sheeny Beanie for $2 says, try I-theanine if you don't want melatonin. How about I find a natural way to fall asleep? Okay? I don't like putting stuff in my body. Unless it's caffeine. Because I don't like that. I don't like that. I want a natural way to fall asleep. I don't want to become reliant on some supplement. Because then what happens when I try to wean off? I can't sleep. So, you know. Vince needs to do a sleeping stream. Yeah, well, that would be great. That would be fantastic content. That'd be fantastic content. John Calvin says, I speak no English. Oh. Whoa. This is true. Drop an anvil on your head to fall asleep fast. Bro, really? Small grading guy, thank you. See, we finally found the solution. Thank you. I'm going to have to try that sometime in Minecraft. Let's see here. Make my room cold, read the Bible, cold shower. How does a cold shower help you fall asleep? A cold shower wakes me up. That's when I'm trying to wake up in the morning. This is what I used to do actually before like track meets when I was tired. I would literally turn on a cold shower and then I would specifically take the shower head, run it specifically on my legs, and then my legs would like wake up like they were stiff, like they had like adrenaline going in them, and then I always ran faster. That's always what I did. I don't see how a cold shower helps you fall asleep. It does the opposite to me. Brian E says, are you on your phone before you go to bed? Blue light makes you not sleep. The answer is yes sometimes, but also sometimes I just can't fall asleep. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Now everyone is just suggesting ways to fall asleep. The problem, like I said, is that I'm hungry. You guys are all missing the point. The reason I can't fall asleep is because I've been falling asleep hungry because I've been trying to not eat so late. This is the solution. You don't understand. You're not thinking on the same wavelength. It's not about manipulating myself into being tired. It's about manipulating myself into being full without eating anything. That is the concern. That's what makes it hard. All right? I know, oh, don't go on your phone. Turn off the... I get that. I get that. I'm saying the problem is we're hungry. Okay? This is the solution we are trying to fix. Small Graydon guy says, stop being hungry. Well, there you go. See, finally, someone presents a solution that's actually viable. Okay? See, he gets it. That is ironclad logic too. Think about it. The problem is I'm hungry. Well, then stop being hungry. You know, I think that's the most ironclad logic I've heard since, you know, probably ever. It's true. It's true. Omar says, then eat. Well, you know, I'm trying to intermittent fast. You missed the whole conversation. Whatever. We're shutting this conversation down, okay? Last 4 minutes of the stream. Any last super chats, questions, or comments you want to send in that to be read and answered, feel free to do so. We will end here at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. John A says, eat some air, you'll feel better. Well, there you go. See, that's an option. That's an option. We could try that. Kevin Boyce says, sleeping a good night's rest is more beneficial than intermittent fasting with bad sleep. Well, I'm trying to get both. Okay? Kevin Boyce says, can I become a member on the app? Yes, but it's very confusing with the YouTube app, so just go... the link is in all my descriptions, okay? There's a link in the description. Become a member. Just click that. It'll take you to where you need to know. Activate anti-Lizzo mode. Correct. So true. Sleep every other day. You'll be sure to sleep. Well, thank you, Smegma Jones. That definitely helps a lot. Count sheep. Okay, well, we could try that. We will try that, okay? Dirty Mike says, Vince, fasting gets easier the more you do it. It's hard at first. Toughen up. I am toughening up. That's why we're doing it. I was explaining. All right, people come in the middle. I was explaining why there are bags under my eyes the past few days. Okay, I was just giving the explanation, and then everyone suddenly it's like WebMD, and everyone knows what they're talking about, and they're like, "Oh, Vince, you need to take melatonin." Oh, I'm like, "No, I don't take melatonin." Okay, we just got to 100 likes. Let's go. Thank you very much. Lionaw says, voice chat Stacey Abrams. I don't want to talk to her ever again. I fast from 6:15 a.m. to 3 p.m. Well, see, for me, that's the easy part. I could do that too. I can go through the day hungry. You know, it actually arguably helps you work better sometimes. But the problem is at night. Kevin Boyce became a Dao Pack General member. I appreciate it. Kevin Boyce. Let's go, Kevin Boyce. Good to see you. We care about you, Vince. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. I'm just saying, it's like, everyone. Now, the best advice I would say I got is just stop being hungry. You're hungry, just stop being hungry. See, that's the advice I really appreciate. That is like solid PhD proven advice. And think about it. It's impeccable too. Because it's a 100% solution, right? People say, oh, drink this tea. Oh, take melatonin. Oh, right? Those might fix the problem. But what guarantee you, if you're hungry, will always stop the problem is if you just stop being hungry. So I think that's ironclad logic, and I 100% appreciate that very much. I appreciate that. So, all right, guys, let's see. I'll stick around till 9:30. Let me check for any last super chats. Let's see if we got anything here on Streamlabs. Let's see. Joanna, did we get anything? I don't think we did on Streamlabs. What does this say? Starting today, all Streamlabs creator will receive 10% off of Logitech G products. Plus, Streamlabs Ultra. Oh, by the way, before we close out, hold on. Totally forgot to plug that. Which I'm going to make the official announcement at some point soon. But we set up a Locals channel. If you don't know what Locals is basically like Patreon, or I guess the YouTube channel membership, but really like Patreon. Hold on, why is it? Okay. But it's the free speech alternative. It's the one run by Rumble. But I'm trying to get a Locals channel set up because, as I've been talking about, we keep getting demonetized by YouTube. Every single video we do at this point, with a few exceptions, gets demonetized. I'm not sure if they're going to demonetize the whole channel. Obviously, we hope not. But in case, I want to build a stable income base, like independent of YouTube. And so let me see if I know they had to like approve my thing or whatever, but let me see. Let me see if it's ready. I think it's like vincedao.locals.com. It's basically like having a website is the way I would put it, right? It's like, okay, we do have it, I believe. Is it ready? Okay, oh, it is ready. Okay, chat. If you guys can, we appreciate this very much. Let me see. Join the locals channel. A Friendly Medic became a Dao Pack General member. Appreciate it. Thank you, A Friendly Medic. A Friendly Medic will be beating it up in the channel membership. Okay, so let's see. VinceDao.locals.com. That's the link. Here it is. All right, let me see. All right, so obviously if you're a channel member, you know, you already support the channel. It's appreciated. But if everyone could, I think the lowest rate is just $5 a month, okay? Help us out. Obviously, like, we'll do locals exclusive content. The other nice thing is it's totally off of YouTube. So I could make, like, exclusive content that talks about, you know, YouTube can't say this or that. But the main thing there, we'll try to... I'm thinking one of the perks is probably going to be we're going to have discounted Discord access. Because right now for Discord members, it's like you have to be in the tier 2 membership. I'll probably make tier 1 on locals as the incentive. It'll be cheaper there, independent of YouTube. We keep more of the money. So yeah, I think it starts at $5 a month. Anyone who wants to support, I'll make the official announcement and announce all the perks soon. But I think the link is ready if you guys want to join the locals channel. Locals is a thing. I thought it was a right-wing slang for socials. No, it's an actual thing. Let me pin the link there. But let's see. Vince with a fade would look so clean. You look good still, but it's just an idea. I do have a fade. It's just a medium fade. I did the like skin fade thing once. These LA Hispanic barbers were like, you know, going hard on it. And I did it once, but it was okay. It didn't look bad. I don't know. It looked very, it looked like I was trying very hard though, you know what I mean? When it's too noticeable. But yeah, there's the locals channel. Would appreciate if you guys join. Again, it starts at $5 a month. It'll basically function as our website. You know how most creators have a website. At some point, I might just make my own website. But for now, that's what we're doing. So join the locals. It's appreciated. And again, this is our way. The big reason I'm doing it separate of the channel membership is because we need to like divest from YouTube because freaking they're demonetizing everything. It sucks. And I don't want to stop talking about the stuff we normally talk about, right? Because it really, there could be a way we monetize everything on YouTube, which is just talk about like boring politics stuff and never touch cultural issues, never talk about the alphabet stuff, any of it, right? So you could do it. It just have to be very, and I don't want to do that. And I don't think you guys watch me mainly for that stuff. So if you guys could help out, you know, everyone, it's like $5 a month, and then we can have this like base income separate from YouTube entirely. And, you know, we don't have to worry about demonetization or Bad Night or Super Chats or whatever. So there's the locals channel, pinned there, greatly appreciated. All right. Small Graydon guy says, can you resend the Discord link in the membership section? Thank you for reminding me. I have to redo it like every single month because it expires for some reason. All right, thanks for reminding me. I will be sure to do that. All right, well, that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to everyone who tuned in. We will be live tomorrow night for the return of the next episode of The Vince Dao Show. Probably at 8 p.m. I do have to check. We might try to react live to Mike Pence's announcement because that'll be kind of funny. So I'll let you know. So stay tuned for that. But we will be live tomorrow. But all right, until then, folks, thank you for everyone who tuned in. Leave a like before you go. Be sure to join that locals channel. Again, pinned their link. Appreciate it. Until then, Alpha moves only. God bless. Have a very good night and peace.